The 2023 governorship elections have come and gone. They've been won and lost. Those declared winners and their supporters have been celebrating, while those who have lost are either replanning or are taking their grievances to court. In Plateau State, Barrister Caleb Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party is governor-elect. And as we speak, he is preparing for governance. He beat his closest competitors, Nentawe Yilwada of the APC and Patrick Dakum of the Labour Party, to become the fourth elected governor of the North Central State since 1999. Hi, I'm Stanley Bentu, and welcome to this special edition of Nuts and Bolts. Now, earlier this year, in the heat of politicking, I received the distinct honor of anchoring the governorship debate organized by the Plateau Debate Guild. And I must say, I felt confident that of the 4 participants, Plateau State had very good choices of well-exposed, well-educated, and well-spoken candidates. Come May 29th, 2023, a new era will begin in Nigeria and its federating units, as one president and 26 governors will be sworn into office. Now, Plateau is certainly one of them, and ahead of Caleb Mutfwang are numerous challenges that he must meet and overcome in order to fulfill his campaign promises. As part of agenda setting, which happens to be one of the roles that the media must play in a democracy, here are a list of key projects and policies that the Mutfwang administration should pay close attention to in order to bring fundamental and radical change to Plateau State. Revive the ASTC project and include Phase 2, agro-processing. Recognized as the home of potatoes and tomatoes, Plateau has always had a comparative advantage in agriculture. But by far the most transformative project in this sector was the establishment of the Agric Services Training Center and Marketing, ASTC. The organization was created essentially to raise agricultural production, boost yield, and to improve the quality of produce through mechanized agricultural services and training for farmers and the entire population. With operations in Kassa, Vom, Mangu, Shandam, and Bokos, the agency made a huge impact, especially in the new species of potatoes, strawberries, peppers, and tomatoes, which have dominated the Nigerian food markets. Unfortunately, over the course of the last 8 years, ASTC was left to drift and ultimately became a shadow of its former self, despite the fact that agriculture remains the lowest hanging fruit for Plateau to boost its income. Why was this allowed to happen?
Agriculture remains the key to our economic revival. Basically, what we'll do is to see how to improve the inputs the farmers can get. We would have developed sufficient capacity to develop the capacity for irrigation so that we'd be able to expand the farming season beyond the rainy season, and thereafter we'll also be able to look at how to introduce other forms of agriculture, animal husbandry, fisheries, that will be able to improve on the productive base of our farmers.
The new government of the state must revamp this project, restore the glory and the efficacy of this establishment, and take it to the next level. Agro-processing is especially important as it provides sustainable economic growth, poverty reduction, and food security. Tomatoes withstand heating and cooking processes very well. As a result, a wide range of popular and convenient store-cupboard tomato products can be manufactured in Plateau State. These include tomato juice, tomato paste, tomato sauce, tomato soup, tomato puree, and tomato ketchup. The global tomato ketchup market size was valued at over $20 billion in 2021 and is expected to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 2.8% per 22 to 2028. DataBridge Market Research analyzes that tomato pastes and purees market was valued at $11 billion in 2021, and it's expected to reach the value of $17 billion by 2029. Potato chips and crisps are among the most popular snacks around the world. They are a rich source of healthy ingredients like vitamins, minerals, and potassium. The global market of these products was estimated at $35.5 billion in 2022, and it is foreseen to reach a valuation of $44.2 by the end of 2028. And now, let's go back to ASTC's Milky Way yogurt. In 2017, Nigeria's former Minister of Agriculture said that Nigerian cows produce far less quantity of milk than their counterparts in other parts of the world. While cows in other countries could produce 100 liters of milk per day, an average cow in Nigeria produces less than 1 liter. The minister basically identified the nomadic way of rearing cattle in the country as the major cause of such low productivity. Ireland, with a population of only 5 million people, has China as its second largest consumer of dairy exports, accounting for 11% of the over $3 billion reported. If we are able to become mass producers of Milky Way dairy milk and yogurts, just imagine this. Would it not be more profitable to sell dairy to China than to borrow money from them to develop our society? The question is, what is Nigeria's market share of all these products when we have all it takes to produce them right here? And this does not even begin to take into account the value chain. With value-added agriculture, not only will the farmers get more business by selling their produce, branding companies will make money, advertising firms will make money, which means that television and radio stations will make money. Transporters will make money. Distributors and retailers will make money. And overall, the economy will improve. Fix security. During the testy times of the Jonah Jang administration, in response to security threats, the state government proposed the creation of a security force made up of people who knew the terrain very well. The federal government approved this initiative, and Operation Rainbow was born. Though Operation Rainbow still exists, over the past few years, it really hasn't exactly been operating optimally. Several challenges were faced. Now, a new opportunity has presented itself to the Mutfwang administration to improve on Operation Rainbow. First, by elevating the quality and standards for recruitment, and this includes the vetting processes. Then, better training for the recruits, which should be backed with an investment in decent technology for intelligence gathering. Somehow, the relationship between Operation Rainbow and the federal security operatives has to be smoothened out to a science such that swift, adequate, and appropriate responses can be achieved.
I'm coming in with the mindset of a newly appointed coach of a team facing relegation. You don't have time to recruit new players, so you have to make sure that the existing players perform optimally. We would go on to revamp community structures for dispute resolution and conflict management, traditional rulers, community development associations, faith-based organizations, etc. Thereafter, we would reinvigorate the justice system to improve on law enforcement and prosecution of crime, and we proceed to recommission the Operation Rainbow framework for better effectiveness. And in the long term, we'll be advocating for constitutional reform to allow for state police.
If over the coming years, Nigeria decides to change the constitution to allow for state police, the new governor can prepare Operation Rainbow to be the launching pad for that. But beyond the kinetic response to security challenges, however, the governor would have to pay keen attention to the soft approach, which includes political balancing, negotiation, and tackling all the social factors that breed security threats.
I believe that the first thing we will need to do upon being sworn in is to put the right leadership in place to be able to drive the process of generating revenue for the state. Once we have done that, we'll also be able to solicit and lobby for the right kind of funding that will support businesses on the plateau, both in the formal and informal sectors, because if you do not create wealth, you cannot generate revenue. And so we'll be knocking on the doors of places like banking industry. There are provisions within the CBN framework that our people have not had access to because the government has not played the right kind of advocacy. We'll be taking the bull by the horn. And of course, once we start doing that, we'll be able to capture more businesses within the tax net. And thereafter, we would go on to be able to deploy technology on how to block loopholes and be able to provide accountability and transparency.
Now, you might say that these are all noble ideas, but how do we pay for them? After all, the Debt Management Office released the domestic debt profile of the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, and the revelations were startling. Plateau State is listed as owing a whopping 149 billion naira in domestic debt. When it comes to financial management, it simply cannot be business as usual for the incoming administration. We can't keep spending like we are rich if we are broke. Now, the IGR of Plateau State has increased somewhat, but it is still short of 2 billion naira a month. And mind you, the value of the naira, as well as its purchasing power, are constantly plummeting. And when you benchmark the state's IGR against its population growth, the reality is that we are not even close to where we need to be. The new administration would have to first find simple ways of cutting costs that are unnecessary. But this won't be enough. It won't even come close. The bottom line is to create, encourage, promote, and sustain real growth of the state's productive economy. The money saved from unnecessary liabilities will also be strategically reinvested. Once business is doing well, the tax net can then be grown. Speaking of taxes, the incoming state government would do well to spend a whole lot of time developing an internal generating revenue policy that would do for Plateau State coffers what the Lagos State government's policy did for Lagos State IGR starting way back in 2003. Today, Lagos State makes well over a staggering 20 billion naira a month. Yes, it has the advantage of being Nigeria's export, import, manufacturing, and business hub. But Plateau is also special in different ways, with an economy poised for rapid growth. Now, the bottom line is that the next government of Plateau State will have its hands full tackling challenges in almost every sector. And all of it is not just important, but rather urgent. What we have laid out here are just the key things that can fundamentally change the fortunes of the state economically. But what other ways do you think that Governor Mutfwang can revolutionize Plateau State and make it the toast of the nation? Please leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. And also, subscribe to First Wave TV and ring the bell to enjoy new episodes of Nuts and Bolts.